Hello there, welcome back. Once again, it is time for the golden age of DC Comics, 365 days, where I take this beloved coffee table book given to me about 2 decades ago by one of my best friends. This has been surfing my coffee table ever since, and has been a constant source of comic book shop-style conversations, the type I wish to recreate here today with you. Thank you so very much for tuning in. You are the most important ingredient in the recipe of my show. I'm a professional chef. I talk like this all the time. If you know my other material, you know I do cooking videos. I'm also known as the Sultan of Soup. I want to thank Wes from Thinking Critical. He has me on his show, and he's been a boon to my channel and to my comic book geek life, bringing me in on part of the panels, being part of this dynamic conversation. And I want to talk about comic books every day. And I'm going to talk about comic books every day for the rest of the year. We've been doing it all year. There's a playlist with every episode. See how far the show's come in 10 months. And we only got 2 more months to go. So, yeah, let's do this. I use this book for its intended purpose. It's a 365 days book. I open up to today's date, which is October the 8th. El Ocho Octobre. And we're going to look at some comic book art of an antediluvian age. We're going to read the blurb, and then we're going to talk about comic books for a few minutes. This is a 2004 Abrams press publication, written and curated by Les Daniels, Chip Kidd, and Geoff Spear. There's a link in the description to the Amazon page where you can get your own copy. You can play along at home. It will look great on your coffee table, and it makes a great gift for a geek. Speaking of coffee and coffee table talk, and pull up a chair. I need more coffee. Guatemalan Huehuetenago. It's a really, really good coffee. I love fresh coffee. But pull up a chair. Come to the coffee table. Bring a cup of anything you want to. Just bring yourself and your thoughts and your love of comic books. We're going to talk about comic books. The golden age runs between 1938 and 1955, the first appearance of Superman in Action Comics #1 of 1938. Yes, that's when superheroes began their this voyage in life that we've been going through for about over 80 years now. And it still makes an impact in our pop culture and in our modern mythologies and in our wonderful storytelling. Power fantasies here of superheroes and supervillains and challenges and spectacular powers and magic and space travel. And there's just so much in the world of sequential art. I got the term sequential art from this. All right, this is Understanding Comics. See, that's sequential art. That's a guy taking his hat off, or a person taking their hat off, and that's the power of 2 panels put side by side with the expectation of sequential art. I mean, this is Understanding Comics by Scott McCloud. There's a link in the description to the Amazon page. This is a wonderful book talking about art. It's a crash course in art history. We go from photorealistic to cartoony. I mean, this is a great book for any level comic book fan. If you're a veteran and you haven't read this book, stop, drop, and giggle. You're getting some great advice here right now. I'll also, hello, the cameraman's drunk. I will also suggest this book as well. How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way by Stan Lee and John Buscema. These are insider look. This is the insider looking out, because most often with a comic book, just a floppy, we are the outsider looking in to these sequential panels and this art. But this is about its creation, and it's about, especially drawing comics the Marvel way, it's about perspective, and it's about dynamism, and it's about your eye knows when it's seeing a pleasing image. I mean, how to plot out your perspective. I mean, when was the last time you thought of things like that when you're reading a comic book? But you will be thinking about it when you see art that just isn't good. and then when you see an image that isn't pleasing or that doesn't make sense. So let's get to it. I hope you're having an awesome day. I hope you're clobbering your problems and not being clobbered by them. Over and out. Aw, that was yesterday's page. Aw, cool. Aw, poor dude. I love Mac Rayboy's art. I love Captain Marvel Jr. This is a great designed junior superhero, a kid sidekick. If I had only known sooner, and look, he's crying. Isn't that... Okay, isn't this a boy? And isn't this showing emotions? Wait a second. Let's get to this. It's October the 8th. This is art by Mac Rayboy. This is from Master Comics number 25, April of 1942. The trauma of the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor, comparable to the shock that modern Americans experienced on September 11th, 2001, is exemplified in this story. Captain Marvel Jr. is weeping because he believes he is too late to prevent the bombing of the bases in Alaska. But he gets there on time and destroys hundreds of menacing enemy planes. Reliving and revising a national tragedy, Americans of that era may appear racist today, but they had a motive. They could even raise a wry smile. As in the panel where a fleeing enemy pilot sings the blues, "Oh Mama, I go back to Yokohama." So we would have to understand that Captain Marvel Jr. had just saved an Alaskan town from a Japanese enemy bombing. Yeah, and there were unfortunate racial stereotypes all throughout the history of comics. In all history of comics, you're going to see unfairness or in stereotypes. Yeah, it happens. I can't make any excuses for it. I didn't draw it. I didn't think it up. I mean, we're here from our vantage point in history. It's easy for us to point our finger at history and shake our tiny fists and say, you know, bad, ist, phobe, Yahtzee, all this stuff. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's inescapable that art produced during World War II had a jingoistic flair for national pride. It's not like today where things are done on maybe in the reverse as well. It's like, what's so good about us with our tattered history? I mean, but how are you supposed to? You know, there was a world war going on, and it just it was quite literally a different time. But it was the time in which these stories were born. I mean, the superhero was born of the time of World War II. Action Comics number 1, 1938. I mean, World War II was already going on over in Europe. You know, all that bad stuff was already going on. The United States will enter the Pacific Theater in December 8th of 1941. Yet we won't officially enter Europe until D-Day. And, you know, there was, like, you know, supporting and, you know, Africa and the Italian camp, but it's more of, we really didn't bring it to the Germans until 1944 in D-Day. And that's almost 3 years. Like 2.5 to 3 years that, you know, and the Soviets were doing a lot of the fighting against the Nazis. I mean, seriously, think about it. It's a modern misconception. Did the United States beat the Nazis and win World War II? I mean, we beat the Japanese, yes, but who beat the Nazis? And the answer might shock you. It was the Soviet Union. And it's the Soviets that, you know, really burst their way into Berlin. And I guess, like, you know, the Allies, the British and the Americans, and were like the mop-up operation after D-Day. But yeah, it was you know, World War II is a terrible, terrible, terrible story. And it was only 80 years ago. But hope, you know, that's why we have hope in the future. that we won't repeat those horrible, horrible, horrible things in life. So yeah, these are comics during wartime. These are wartime comics. Yeah, and it's a boy showing emotions. I used to make fun of stuff. I had a caustic sense of humor. I would say something stupid, like I would tune into the World Series of Little League just to see boys cry, because it's such an ironic American thing. Boys don't cry. Take it like a man. What is masculinity? What is manhood? What is toxic masculinity? Well, of course, there's all sorts of toxic humanity. World War II was proof of that. And but I just think it's great, and to see this, a boy being emotional, and he's even alone here in this panel. He's besides us, he's not breaking the fourth wall. He's that's just the perspective of regarding the hero, our subject in this panel. But he's alone, flying in the air, and he's very emotional. He's a young man. He's a teenager. He's 12 or 13 years old. Maybe 14. He's just, young people are emotional people. It takes a whole lifetime to get around our emotions, doesn't it? But yet I find this panel to be stirring and striking. I love the design of Captain Marvel Jr.'s outfit anyway. It's a great nighttime panel. It's a great use of light source and this building of the city long before light boxing and tracing became such an option for modern artists. This is pretty decent art. I'm really digging this. And yeah, we've been talking about comic books, and we're going to talk about comic books every day for the rest of the year. So tune in tomorrow, 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern, and we'll find out who we're talking about when we turn the page tomorrow. Please like and subscribe. I would love to earn your subscription. We make daily content here. We talk about comic books every day, and we're also doing a series all this month of October called the 31 Days of Halloween. So tune in to that channel or that playlist to find out what's going on during this month. Thank you so much. God bless. Namaste. Good luck. And we will see you again in the funny pages. Cheers. Bye-bye.